So let's dive into a really powerful set of reflections for finding some inner calm in our, let's face it, pretty chaotic lives. These ideas pull from some timeless wisdom, things like stoicism and mindfulness. But this isn't just philosophy. These are actual practical tools you can start using today.
Yeah, this probably looks familiar, right? We are constantly being pulled in a million different directions, just bombarded with information. We're surrounded by what our source material calls all this noise around us. It can be totally overwhelming.
And here's the big idea we're going to unpack. The power to handle all that chaos on the outside, it doesn't come from trying to change the world around you. Nope. It comes from cultivating the world inside you. And this right here, this is our goal. The Source has this amazing term for it, buona ordine a mente, which translates to the well-ordered mind. Now, pay close attention to what this actually means. It's not about having a perfect life with no problems. Who has that? It's about building the skill to move through those problems with a clear, calm mind, without getting totally swept away by them.
Okay, so how do we even start to build this well-ordered mind? Well, the first big principle is all about perspective. It's this foundational idea that our reality is shaped almost completely by how we internally interpret what happens to us.
This quote just nails it. It sounds so simple, right? But the implications are absolutely massive. This one idea hands you both the responsibility and, more importantly, the power over how you experience your own life. You go from being a passive victim of circumstances to an active creator of your own reality.
And this breaks it down perfectly. See, on one side, you've got the event. That's the objective thing that happened, a fact. But on the other side, you have your lens. That's the story, the meaning, the judgment you attach to that fact. And guess where all the emotion lives? It's all in the lens. The most important part? You can learn to consciously choose that lens.
And this idea builds right on top of that. Because the lens you choose is where you're putting your attention, and your energy just follows. This quote makes it clear. There's an almost physical connection between what you focus on and what you experience. Whatever you water with your attention, the good or the bad, is what's going to grow in your life.
And that is exactly why being present, being right here, right now, isn't just some feel-good luxury. It's presented here as an absolutely essential tool. It's the act of consciously pointing your attention where you want it to go instead of letting all that daily noise yank it around. It really is, as the Source says, a necessary antidote.
Okay, so we get the importance of perspective and focus, but what are the actual inner tools we need to put this stuff into practice? Well, this next part is all about two things, discipline and the incredible power of your own choices.
I absolutely love this reframing. We usually think of discipline as a chore, right? Something we have to grit our teeth and get through to finally arrive at the good stuff. But what these reflections are telling us is that the discipline, the mental practice, is the good stuff. It is the direct path to that inner peace we're all after.
And this quote just seals the deal. It connects the dots perfectly. The quietness we're all craving isn't about finding a silent room. It's about creating an internal order. That quietness is the well-ordered mind. It's the result of that inner work. So how does this play out, like in a real moment-to-moment way? Okay, so something happens. That's the stimulus. Now, most of us just jump straight from stimulus to reaction. But the key, the absolute secret, is to find what the Source calls that small but essential space, right before you respond. That little gap, that's your moment of freedom. That's where all your power lives. And making that choice is absolutely vital for our mental health. Look, this isn't about pretending you don't have feelings. It's not about suppressing anger or worry. It's about awareness. It's about seeing the anger bubble up and saying, okay, I see you, but you don't get to drive the car. You learn to respond with intention instead of just reacting on autopilot.
All right, this brings us to what might be the single most powerful, most transformative idea in this whole explainer. It's a completely radical way to look at the challenges and difficulties that, let's be honest, are a guaranteed part of life. I mean, think about it. Our default setting, what we're taught from day one, is that an obstacle is bad. It's a problem. It's a roadblock that makes us angry or frustrated. It's something that gets in the way of what we want.
But the Source here asks us to just pause, to consider a totally different possibility.
what if our entire definition of an obstacle is just wrong?
What if the obstacle is the way? This isn't just about passively accepting it. The source calls this an active reinterpretation. It means you look at that difficulty, that challenge, that thing in your way, and you see it not as a barrier, but as the exact raw material you need to grow. The lesson you need to learn is baked inside the challenge itself.
And when you make that mental flip, everything changes. Truly. When the obstacle becomes the path, suddenly effort isn't just something that drains you. It becomes a source of power. It allows you to find something good even in a bad situation, because now every single challenge is an opportunity to get stronger, to learn, to become more resilient.
So let's wrap this all up into a real practical toolkit. These are your concrete tools for that well-ordered mind. First, you consciously choose your lens. Then you direct your attention with purpose. You practice finding that tiny space so you can respond instead of just reacting. You actively work to reframe obstacles as the path forward. And finally, you ground all of this in a practice of gratitude and understanding. That's the whole shebang.
So I want to leave you with this last really powerful question from the source material. I want you to actually think about this. What's an obstacle in your life right now? A challenge, a frustration? What if you could reinterpret it? What if it's not a dead end at all, but a new beginning just waiting for you to see it?